My name is Marty Ludis, and I'm a fingerprint examiner and developer of the Fingerprint Paradigm training program. In this tutorial, I'm going to explain the lesson content of the Fingerprint Paradigm thumb drive program. This is the third and final phase of the Fingerprint Paradigm. At this point in the training, you should have already completed the Walt pattern classification instruction and the 9 print score practical exercises that were in your Forensic Press print pack. The Fingerprint Paradigm thumb drive program consists of 7 sessions, all of which have multiple assignments for you to complete on the computer monitor. I'm going to review and demonstrate each of the 7 sessions by double-clicking the title so that we can examine the different activities in each assignment. I'll double-click Session 1, and it goes to the title page, where you see 4 exercises and the Walt pattern examination. In the Walt introductory training exercises, you examined fingerprints on paper. In the thumb drive training, all the fingerprints are viewed on the computer screen. Let's look at Part 1 and see how you will complete this exercise. Here, examine the print, left-click on the correct pattern classification, and the program logs your response. If the number at the bottom increases, you were correct. At the end of the exercise, the paradigm will indicate how many patterns out of 40 you correctly classified. These exercises can be done multiple times. I'm going to select the Home button and double-click Session 2, Hand Bones and Friction Ridge Surface Recognition. Here you can see there are 4 exercises, and each exercise consists of 3 charts with a total of 12 charts to be completed. Let's get ahead of ourselves and look at one of the charts I made on my thumb drive program so you can see what you will be doing. In this chart I made on October 4th, 2016. During the exercises, I properly typed in the names of each region using the text tool. When I clicked on the check button, the program checked my titles and converted the text on the screen from black to green and automatically generated a chart in the screenshot program file. Had I typed in the incorrect skin region, the text would stay black until I typed the proper response. The chart clearly displays the first, second, and third joint of the fingers, the interdigital, thenar, and hypothenar regions of the palms. Let's go back to the Paradigm's title page. I will double-click Session 3, Friction Ridge Event Interpretation and Documentation Exercises. Here you can see that there are 3 different exercises with a total of 46 charts to complete. Like we did earlier, let's look at the completed charts I made in this session. This is triple speed video of me drawing a loop pattern with the Paradigm's Draw tool. It takes a while to get used to the Draw program, but after a while you can get it to display ridge contours and even pores. Here's a completed chart. This is also triple speed video of me drawing skeleton lines and designating ending ridges and bifurcations with callouts. This is the same Draw tool as before, with the addition of the callouts. These are made with the left cursor button. Here I'm designating ending ridges with the red and bifurcations with green using the Paradigm's documentation system. The point is to try to observe and mark every ridge event on the print. The paradigm counts the ridge events and designates it on the chart. You can do this exercise multiple times to see how consistent you are in your interpretation of the two ridge events. This is what the final chart should look like. I am now going to review Session 4, Ridge Counting and Documentation. Here you will complete 3 different ridge count exercises using designated color-coded ridge events. The activity involves drawing a line from each coordinate and then counting the intervening ridges that intersect the line. Let's look at the simplest ridge count, the delta to core ridge count activity. Here I'm using the Paradigm's line tool and the left cursor button to click and draw from the color coordinates. In these 2 prints, I'm drawing the lines and counting the ridges between the coordinates. After I count the ridges, I type my ridge count, and like before in the skin region exercise, I select the check button. If the answer is correct, green circles will appear on the screen, and you can advance to the next chart. While the program is still open, I'm going to go to the Paradigm thumb drive program, double-click on the folder, and then double-click on the Fingerprint Paradigm data. I'll click on Screenshots and then click on Ridge Count Charts. Here you can see all of my work and the exercise completion charts that were generated when I did these exercises. Let's now go to Session 5, Persistence of Friction Ridges Inquiry and Documentation. Here you can see that there are 4 different assignments, and you will be making a total of 10 charts. First, you'll just advance through the descriptive information on ridge permanence. And now your first chart comes up. I'll just go over this first chart. We have 2 enlarged prints from 1979 and 2016. 2 areas in the same region of the finger. And I'll mark ending ridges with the red call out. So we're proving the persistence of friction ridge skin by indicating how the ridge structure did not change over time. You should be marking from left to right. In other words, the first print on the left you designate, and then you find the matching ridge event on the right. And if you'd like, you also can draw in skeleton lines. I've got this chart marked up, and I'm just going to explain ridge counting. Let's count the ridges from this bifurcation to this bifurcation. 1, 2, 3. Let's count it over here. 1, 2, 3. We can also count this one. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I have this completed to my satisfaction, and I can take an extra screenshot, or I can just select next, and the program will save a chart automatically. And there's the next chart to complete. Let's check the charts by bringing in the window for the folder, and I'll click on Data, Screenshots, Permanents, and now you can see my charts. Including the completion chart. Let's now move on to Session 6, In Situ Photography, Pore Observation and Documentation. Here you will have to complete 7 assignments. These assignments will introduce centerline pores, which are in the very middle or center of the ridge. They will introduce centerline interruption pores, which actually terminate the ridge temporarily, as seen here. Pore radius indentations, where the curvature of the pore actually creates a dent or an indentation. You'll be documenting active pores, and in this case you can actually see the reflection from the LED lights in the fluid of the pore. You'll be recognizing and documenting pores that exist in the furrows, which are between the ridges. And finally, you'll be documenting the bifurcation furrow delta pore, which is at the exact point where the ridges diverge in a bifurcation. The final examination in this is the advanced pore charting, and here you will be able to mark on actual fingerprint ridges. Let me demonstrate one of the activities as I click on 1 through 6. I'll select Begin. And the first chart that we look at is 2 photographs of centerline pores. This would be a centerline pore. This void here would also be a centerline pore. Now you're going to be able to use your draw tool to designate the centerline pore. It's my assessment that this curvature right here is indicative of that location of the pore. So I'm going to left click on the big circle and drop it right here. I'll move down here, and it appears to me that there is more than one pore. I see a perfect circle here, so I'm going to use the big one, the big circle right here, and drop it. And I also see another curvature here, which I think is also a pore. I'm going to mark it with the smaller. Now here we're seeing 2 pores. That's my assessment. My assessment here is actually I'm seeing 3 pores. I'm seeing 1 here. I'll mark that with the big one. And I'm seeing 2 more pores. And my observations are based on the indentation here. And I'll use the smaller circles to indicate that. Now, if I wanted to delete or change my mind, I can right click and make corrections. Also, I recognize this as probably a centerline pore, much smaller. There's another one. Let's change this one to this size. Now, this is ready to be saved, and all I have to do is I can take a photograph by clicking on the camera button. And if, for instance, I wanted to make 2 assessments, I could indicate just this one single pore, take another picture of that. So you can make multiple assessments and charts of these, and when I click the next button, it saves it as a chart to your file. And here's the next chart that you'll do. Again, here we're marking centerline pores. While the program is open, let's go back and look at the charts that I'm making. I will select the Fingerprint Paradigm data file folder, screenshots, pores, and here's the charts that I made. Now let's review Session 7, Introduction to Decay Fingerprint Analysis, Comparison, and Evaluation. We're finally going to compare some fingerprints. This assignment consists of 9 comparison sets. The first 3 sets have 20. Sets 4 through 9 have 10 each. I suggest you do each set one at a time. If you have the energy to do 2 or 3, that's fine, but you may not want to stress yourself too much in the very beginning. What you're going to do first is plot your ridge events on the print as you see it, and then when you select a compare button, the print that you compare will come in. Let's do a demonstration. Okay, we have a plain arch here, and what I'm going to do is recognize the ridge events and mark some of them ahead of time before I compare it. In the analysis phase, I can mark these ending ridges. My primary search cluster will probably be this pair of ending ridges, which consists of this one ridge, and then one ridge down I have another ending ridge. That's what I'll be looking for in the comparison print. Now I'm ready to compare. I can select compare. The print comes in, and I have to try to determine if I can find these ridge events on this print here. Looking over here, this one and this one seems to be in a compliant position. However, this ridge continues and it doesn't end there. This ridge and this ridge could be in a compliant position as these two here. However, if I drop down 1, 2, I don't have this one. This one up here could possibly be this. Let's count the ridges between these two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our ridge count is different between these two. This ending ridge does not exist here. outwardly the print looks similar because it's a plain arch, but I would have to give this an exclusion. So I'm going to select exclusion, and my response is correct. So I'll go to the next one. Okay, this is a tinted arch. Let's mark up these ending ridges because they're so close together. Here we have 4 ending ridges. We also have an ending ridge down here, a bifurcation down here, and it appears that we have an ending ridge here. This is actually a short ridge. Okay, I'm ready to compare. I'm going to be looking for a tinted arch, and immediately I can recognize this short ridge up here. I can count down to this ending ridge here, this one here, here, and here, extending down to here and even getting the bifurcation. So if I walk around and count the ridges, I can count 1, 2, 1, 2, go from here, 1, from here, 1, starting here, 1 ridge up, start here, 1 ridge up. Now count from here to here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to put the final line tool, and I have lines indicate the walk around ridge counting that I did, and I feel like there's sufficient documentation for me to make an identification conclusion, and that is correct. Okay, let's go back to the Paradigms folder system and look at what my results are. Go back to screenshots, and here I want comparisons, and these are the charts that I've just done. And you can see my documentation. This is the chart. As you can see, I marked 24 callouts, which meant there were 12 ridge features that I noted to be in compliant positions. Those are just the ones I documented. And now this chart shows my conclusion that it was correct, and I also have some charting that goes along with it. Let's look at this exclusion determination. I have the ridge features marked and the yellow line. If you remember, these are the ridge counts that I made between these, and they do not correspond. Neither does the ending ridge that is right here. So the paradigm gives you as many possibilities to document your comparisons. If you were to make an incorrect determination, hopefully your documentation would help you determine that. At this time, I'd like to call to your attention to the Examiner Instructional Supplement on your thumb drive. This supplement is a 57-page operations manual for the paradigm, and I strongly recommend that you go through it before you begin the exercises. You'll recognize the information that is in this video, and also you'll be able to see the different screenshots that you will be seeing when you go through each of the exercises. You can leave this document open and refer to it at any time while you are doing the paradigm exercises. You can look through this and recognize if you've completed all of the assignments to make sure that you have done them properly and if everything is completed. This concludes this video supplement.